Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm part of the Sogolytics team. I'm here to help you get started today in your Sogolytics account. My title, VP of Success, means that I'm here to help you be successful. In this call, we'll focus on learning how to navigate within the platform and how to start your first project. There's a ton you can do within the Sogolytics platform, all the way from design to data. So here we mean setting up your questions, getting, of course, the right answers too, distribution, reporting, and data import and export as needed too. So without further ado, let's go. We'll jump right into the platform and start from the login page. When you are looking for the login page on our website, you can see login is up here in the top right. Now, I am assuming at this point that you've already signed up for an account. If you haven't, start there. You can see you could start with a free trial or even request a demo if you'd like the full tour of all of the options based on your specific use cases. But I'm going to assume for today, for our purposes, that you already have an account and you're just ready to log in. You're going to need your user ID and your password. If you forgot what it is already, go ahead and hit Forgot Password, and we'll have it sent directly to you. When you open up your account, you're going to see a lot of good information, one item of which is, yes, you're in the right account because it's got your name in there. But navigating is pretty simple to start with. We know that we can always go home again up in the top left. We can see a list of every single project in the entire account that we have access to. And if you'd like to see what you're working on most recently, you'll be able to jump to those directly down here. You'll notice a paradigm within our platform, hover to act. Once you jump down here and hover over the correct project that you want to jump into, you see all of your options are available directly. You can also view all projects from here if you'd like to. It's also pretty obvious to see where you might go to create a project. We'll come back to that in a moment. If you prefer to start with a template rather than starting from scratch, you can always check out our template bank. One more item before we get into creating that project, check out the Help Center on the right-hand side of your screen. It's expanded on the home screen, but it will always be available to pop out and quickly access anywhere you are in the platform. Depending on your account type, you might see the option to schedule a call, chat directly, email our team, but also I'd love to highlight our resources in here, including the user guide and video library. These are really helpful options integrated directly into the platform, so if you ever have questions as you're going, you can always pop those open and get the latest and greatest advice. One more note, if you ever have suggestions as you're going through, we are a feedback company, so please feel free to drop it in there too. Okay, absolute last piece. Once you're popped up here in the top right, you'll also be able to jump into if you need to log out, if you need to check out your account settings, or if you need additional help, you can always get that right from the top right corner where you will see your initials. All right, let's get into design. And here I'm going to start by creating a project. Depending on your account type, you'll see different projects lined up here. Today, I'm going to start with a survey. It's a basic project type. And here I have another question. Start from scratch, from a template, or because I already have projects in my account, I can make a copy. The template pack is a really excellent place to start if you don't have a lot of questions in mind or you're just looking for some inspiration. But today, I'll go boldly and start with a blank survey. Here I'm going to be asked for a title, and I'm going to call this the video example survey. Very clever. You can put it in the folder of your choice, choose a language, you can add additional languages, but you can also come back and add those later as needed. Notice that this is an internal title just for your reference, so call it whatever you want, and you can always change it later. Your participants will never see this title. Now that I've magically created this survey already, I can see the title is up here at the top. You can also see the steps are laid out for me from left to right here. Here I'm going to do design, of course, building the questionnaire itself, distribute, planning my publishing, tracking participation, taking a look at results, and being able to manage my data as needed as I go. And again, as mentioned, on the right-hand side there, you'll always see that Help Center. You can pop out whenever you need to. Here, though, getting started is as simple as double-clicking or dragging and dropping a question from the menu on the left. You'll see several different question types. And when you hover over top of them, you'll get a little bit more information about each. For example, the classic radio button, a single select question. Drag and drop, and here it is. And here I can ask a question, I can copy and paste the text, or I can type it directly. Great question. Do you love this video? And I might say the answer should be yes or no. I could also go into a few different options here. If I want to copy a whole bunch of them, I can use a different view over here on the right. And if I'd also like to choose from a saved answer set, I can go to the answer library. We have a number of those that are already in there for you, or you can create your own answer lists to be able to use across different projects. This is really helpful if you have a lot of locations, a lot of clients, a lot of departments, for example, where you would like to be able to use that list consistently over and over again without having to type it out every single time. Yes or no, though, is pretty simple, so we'll keep it that way for now. And you'll also notice that I have a number of different options on the left-hand side. So here I've already chosen a radio button question, but I could choose to change it to a different type of question. So here I might say, instead of "do you love this video," I might choose to make it a rating scale question. How much do you love this video? If I choose to make that so I can get a little bit more data along the way, simply hit apply, and here you can choose the question type. And now instead of yes and no, I have a bunch of different options. And you'll notice that the options on the left, these question level options, do change, obviously, with different types of questions. So explore what you're looking for. You might come in and say, yes, you love this video, yes or no. You might also choose, you know what, that's not the one that I wanted at all. I might choose something else entirely. Here I'm just going to say, yes, do I love this video? How much do you love this video? Make sure if you're changing the question type, you change the text as well. Here I'm going to say the lower end of the scale is not at all. I could put in text for each of them, lots, or just at the anchors at the end. Notice here I have a few more options. I could switch from scale rating to a smiley rating scale. I could set this question as mandatory, meaning that everyone who takes my survey must answer this question. Encourage response, nudge them. And again, a few more options that you might see depending on your account type. Maybe you have the ability to pre-fill the answer. In this case, I don't know. That's why I have to ask the question. So let's stick with this one for the first question and hit save. So there's my first question. Awesome. As I continue to build, I can drag and drop more questions from the left to the right. Here I can come back and say, what do you think of the presenter? Oops. Again, I can choose to show the labels. I can change different icons. I can do positives, negatives, however I'd like to do this. Again, different question options for different types. If you do figure out that you would like to change something about a question that you've already created, come back in and hover over top of it. Here I've got a lot of time-saving options, so I can edit it quickly. I can make a copy of it to use another similar format, set it as mandatory, logic, even get rid of it completely, or magical 3 dots, a lot of other options as well too. If you want to take action on a bunch of different questions, you can do that as well too. You've got a lot of different options here, but here I've only got 2 questions to start with, so let's go from there. All right, so let's imagine that I have the most beautiful project ever. I'm going to give one more question type here. Here I'm going to give a text box question. Please explain your answer. Okay, and you'll notice this one, again, a very different question type. Here I'm asking, instead of choosing an answer, just tell us what you think. So I'm going to here expand the size of the box, drag it down to the size and height and width that you prefer. Here I might say, just looking for a short answer, so let's say 2 rows. But also on the left-hand side, I can decide what kind of an answer should this be. Here I'll say it's general. It's not necessarily a number or any specific formatting. Here it's just text. So I basically want someone to use their words to answer the question that I presented. I'm going to decide that they should have a little bit more space, so let's say 200 words. And I can choose whether to allow the characters to be displayed or not, letting someone know how much time is left or how much space is left in the box. Keep in mind, it's not a great idea to make a big box with few characters, or vice versa. It can be really frustrating for people. All right, once your question looks good, go ahead and save. Gorgeous as you go. Now, this is, as we know, a very beautiful looking survey project, but if you want to get a little bit more specific here, you can come in, add that logo, add a header. If you want a title at the top, do it. Notice also you can change the formatting a little bit if you want to get fancy. I'm going to highlight this one. I want it to be bold. I might want it to be really big, for example. So you can play around with the formatting a little bit just to get people's attention. One more quick note, if you want to give an explanation about this survey, what it's about, choose maybe descriptive text to drop in at the beginning here to say, welcome, and set expectations for what is this survey about, why are you asking people to participate, how are you going to use the data. This can be really helpful in giving that sort of warmer welcome rather than just saying, here's a bunch of questions. So it's a little bit more conversational, which is a great approach to use. Okay, as you build your project, you've got sort of this nice little canvas here where you can see what's going on. But at any time, you can also preview this entire survey, and you'll get the up to the latest preview of what it looks like. And this will work exactly as it does for your participants. Yes, I can decide if I wanted those characters remaining, or if I decide that's not enough space, for example, I can make those updates and even submit to see what it looks like. If I decide to make some changes, that's fine. I can also come through and say, I'd like to see what it looks like on tablet. I'd like to see what it looks like on mobile. And if you feel good about it, awesome, move on. If you feel like you want to make some changes, do it. As one of the things that you might notice too is I haven't really changed anything about the visuals. If you want to make this look different in terms of the style, the colors, all of those things, you can easily do that pretty quickly up here under visual settings. You've got a variety of different themes to choose from. Under each of them, there's already a set style. I happen to love the color green, so we're going to go with that one for today. But if you decide that you want to make some more in-depth changes, there are lots of options, not just these few at the top, but you can even get into very specific advanced color options so that you can change a lot of these elements that are available here. I'm just going to keep mine simple, even though it can be really exciting to have background images, background borders, all of this kind of stuff. Keep in mind, the goal is not to dazzle people. The goal is to get participants to give you some feedback. So make sure that it's still easy to read and participate in as you go. You have a few more options down here as well, too. You can continue to explore, but you can also save this style. So this is one that you can use over and over again. If this looks good for you on this example survey, hit apply. And again, make sure that you're previewing it on your own specific project so each of the question types that you have looks good. I like this. I like how the green looks good. I like this piece down here below as well, so they all match up. Perfect for me. If you want to make any changes, perfect for me. If you want to make any changes, you can also come back here and do that. If you want to make any changes in things like the thank you page we saw at the end, in any of those event messages, like what if somebody comes and it's already been expired or it's already been closed? You can go ahead and change any of those things. I also mentioned earlier, you could change, add some additional languages. All of that stuff is available here under this little sprocket wheel. So build the questions, make it look pretty, and then come in and make some of those changes if you want. There's a ton more to do in design, but for our purposes today, we'll just keep moving. So let's take a look at distribution, which is the next phase here. So as we move left to right, design, distribute, again, all of these options will vary based on your account type, but there are lots of different ways that you can choose to distribute your survey project. I will say before you start launching off into the world and collecting real data, it's a really great move to start with a test link, a test invitation as well. So if you're just putting this link, for example, on your website or on your social channels, something like that, create a test link. It's going to say read over and over again. I know what this is for. This is just a test. These responses will not go into your reports. They're all registered as tests. They won't change anything about your data overall, but they are really good to share with your team or others who might need to test that survey before it goes live. It's always a better idea to test and change before you go live rather than trying to figure out, oh, why did we do it that way? Or make last-minute changes. So let's say one of the things that you want to get out there is you want to just put it right up on your website, as I mentioned. This is so easy. The fastest way that you can do this, you can create a participation link simply by clicking generate. So you'll notice here, my survey is in still edit mode. Here I got this little yellowy orange light. As soon as I click generate, that shareable URL, this can be used over and over and over again. It's available. All I need to do is copy it. I can also pull a QR code if I want to. Maybe I'm putting up a flyer, a post-event kind of survey, something like that too. And you'll notice now it's green. It's active, it's ready to accept responses, and it's live in at least one place. So one of the things that you'll notice here, yes, that one's live, but you can still participate, or you can still invite participants through different methods. So maybe you put one link up on your website, but another popular way to distribute is through email invitation. So a single-use link, a multi-use link. Here, if you know the email addresses of the people that you're sending to, enter their email addresses and send them a nice-looking invitation. Maybe you only have a few, maybe you only know certain contacts in those organizations or the head of each department. Or you want people to respond lots of different times. In that case, send a multi-use link. Spend a lot more details on that, but in general, an email invitation is a really nice way to go as well too. If you do plan to send an email invitation, notice that you've got the option to set up email templates over here on the right. Come in, set up a nice looking email template, make sure it looks pretty. You can create a new one, embed questions, get your branding in there. Make sure the branding in the survey matches the branding in the invitation so people have that positive and consistent experience with your brand. And another piece that you can also work on here is getting contact lists set up. So pushing that data out, who is it going to, what's the email address, what's their, any pre-populated fields like department or location, for example, can also be filled in there from that contact list. So pretty nice. Once you are ready to publish, you can come in and say, all right, good to go. Make those decisions. Yes, here is my single-use link. That's what I want to send. I want to make sure that I'm sending this particular email invitation. Because I'm already publishing, I can select it immediately to use, or I can come back in and edit. If you're not sure if this is the right one at all, just hit preview. I'll just say select for right now. You have a lot of different options when you're customizing these email templates. We're skipping all of that because we've already said we made it perfect already. So I'm just going to say here, yep, this looks good. This is going to me. I'm sending it in manually. You could also choose from a contact list, from a Salesforce workflow. I uploaded an Excel file here directly. And I'm going to say continue. I don't have mail merge in this survey or invitation. I don't have pre-population. But if you did, you would see those options up here at the top. Finally, I'm ready to send this out into the universe. So I'm going to take a look. There's my one invitation. Pretty much what I expected. So good to know that you have the right number. Send it now or schedule for later. Let's say now. And you can also set reminders. Now, these are intelligent reminders. So if I send it out today and this person, me, doesn't respond in the same day or 2 days later, I might say, after 3 days, send a nudge to this person. And that nudge will only go out if this person has not yet responded. So very smart, not annoying people who've already responded, but great time saver. I'm going to say no on this. And I'm just going to say, yep, I could preview again, but I feel very confident that this is the right survey, the right invitation to the right person. So I've got the right celebration here in this case. So again, I could keep publishing, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward to track, which is tracking participation. So interestingly enough, now I can see that this one was sent to one person who has not yet responded, strangely enough. If I did have multiple participation methods, I would be able to see them up here. I'd be able to track what's going on across each of these different methods as well too. Here, no action yet, so we'll see if that person gets a reminder. Not yet, a little bit too soon. I'm going to switch over to another project that has a little bit more data in there, so we can jump into track that looks a little bit less bare. So in my example here, just flipping over again to a different survey project, once you start to have multiple distribution methods, you'll see this overview option. So you'll be able to see what's going on for different participation methods. So whether it's SMS, single-use link, those shareable URLs on the website, even importing things, or passwords. I don't have to name everything. The point is that there's a lot of different options here, including automated options as well too. So learn more about that elsewhere too. So data comes in. Awesome. It means that we've got reports that are filling up. Your data is there as soon as people respond. Amazing, clean. This one's a little bit exciting looking already, but let's just say reset. When you first get that data coming in, it's going to look very nice, very clean, and in many cases, very blue. So all of that fresh data will come in right away into the Omni report. It's that first report type that you have up here. There are many different report types, but this is a really great one to start with. Omni has basically the all-in-one philosophy where you can see answers to all of your questions that you ask in that particular survey presented here. And you can decide, in addition to metadata as well, which of these items really need to be presented in your report. Is this something that you love, 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 just how it looks? Awesome. You can just download it directly. You can export it into PowerPoint, for example, and be able to present it to your team. If you want to start getting a little bit fancy, though, you can do that. Again, some of these options vary by project type. They also vary by product type, so more to explore there. But you can pick and choose which questions that you want to include. You can also, one of my favorites, change all the colors. Do you want data tables? Do you want graphs, or both? Here I'm going to skip. How do you want your answer options to be sorted in general? And like I already said, one of my favorites is to be able to have different colors. So that's stacked bar graph, different options here. And notice these are settings for the overall report. So as soon as you apply that, it's going to double check. Yep, looks good. Here's all of your data. So you've got some, report level settings, but you also have question level settings. So if there's anything that you want to modify, you know what, I thought I liked a stack bar graph, but I'd like to actually be able to present it differently. I'd like to customize this and present it as a pie chart. Cool, make a pie chart. You can even apply to all of the graphs if you want. Figure it out. Do you like donuts better than pie? You can pick and choose your preference as well too. And depending on the kinds of questions that you're asking, so that was a single select question. Here is a multi-select question. Now I'm not going to have the same options, but I could say, for example, let's sort this information. I would rather have this presented in order so that my team looking at this data can see immediately these innovation exercises, for example, are the most popular choice. Also, if you have chosen a rating question, as we discussed earlier, you're going to have some additional options for how you'd like to present this. You can use the stacked bar graph, for example, but you can also say, show me this by weighted score. So out of 4 or out of 5 or out of how many points. Here, for example, out of 5 possible, we have a weighted score of 3.89. So you have a few different metrics that you can use there if you'd like to see that original percentage. You want to see net intent, percent favorable. This is super, super useful, especially if you're going to get into something like segmentation. Show me the, in this case, excitement level for the retreat by, let's call it department. And show me all departments. We could get more fancy, but let's say just very briefly, the idea of segmentation, huge time saver. So quickly I can see who has the most excitement about this retreat. Well, perhaps no surprise, it is the training team who is most excited about it. Again, lots and lots of ways you can go for breaking down your data. Omni Report is a really great place to do it. Pick and choose what you like, be able to add it to your dashboard, which is simply saying, yep, add this one to the canvas. Get all that data together in the way that you would like to see it as you'd like to see it presented to your colleagues or even for your own purposes as well, and be able from here to share it with other people, share a dynamic link to it, be able to download it as well too, or even split through report level segmentation so you can get a separate report for each department, for example. So tons of cool options in here. If you have other needs that are not so frequency based, you'd just like to see, for example, open-ended text, you can come in here and do that verbatim report. If you'd like to see that text analyzed, we do have the text analysis report. If you are somebody, again, who just really likes that raw data, a response table, just looks like a big spreadsheet, come in and explore those options here as well. Finally, if you are somebody who just really likes to have all of that data in a beautiful looking data export, you can do that here under the last tab, which is simply called Data. No surprise. So if you would like to export your data into Excel, CSV, whatever you'd like. If you need to put it in SPSS for additional analysis, do it. If you are planning to import that data back into your account, use Sogolytics 1. It's our specific format that is designed to be quickly and easily imported back into the platform. Tons of reasons why you would do this. If it doesn't seem relevant to you, no worries, but when you have questions about this, just ask. So I'm going to wrap up there for today. There is so much more that we could talk about, but trying to get it under half an hour is very ambitious. So I hope this has been helpful for you in thinking through the first project that you're starting in the platform. Remember, as you go, you can always pop open the Help Center on the right-hand side there. It is there for you. So use your resources. Your resources here. I am talking about the user guide, video library, all of that in-app help. Help Center will also give you your options that are available by your account type. So if it's chat, email, one-on-one call, set up an individual training or group training with your team so you can make the most of your account and win. Thanks so much for joining. It's really great to chat with you today. I'm always excited to invite new people into the platform, and I wish you all the best. Great projects ahead. Cheers.